Welcome back, everybody. So Marcel, let me just first introduce you shortly, because before you start. So Marcel is a colleague of ours. Actually, he's the only one here who can present from VIKTOR. So I'm really happy, Marcel, that you got this honor. So Marcel has joined our company, I think, close to 5 years ago already. Yeah?
Yes, it's about 5 years. I think it's like 2 months, then it's 5 years. So it's
Yeah.
been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
What a journey.
And what a journey. And maybe the persons who are really into accents can already hear that he speaks way better English than I do, because he's actually Marcel is from South Africa. So we are super happy that you came to the Netherlands to join us at VIKTOR, and all the work that you have been doing so far. Marcel is sort of the person that when we when it's sort of we have a big challenge at the customer and it's like, okay, we don't really know how to solve this, then we usually bring in Marcel. So then he works long nights quite often.
Yeah, but it's nice work. I really enjoy. I like helping all others. I think see it as a privilege.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. So Marcel, without further ado, I would say, you can just take it away. And then for everybody again, I would like to let you know, you can ask questions in the chat, as mentioned before, and then Anande will have a look at them, and we'll try to ask as many as possible at Marcel after the presentation.
Yeah, thanks, Stijn. Stijn already gave a bit of an introduction. Today I will be presenting about a lot of the challenges that I'm hearing in the engineering industry. Not only about the individual, but as an industry as a whole, and also taking a bit of reflection on the experience that I had from the start, where I started getting in touch with these challenges and the solutions that I sought going through that. So before we go into that, just a quick introduction of myself. Well, it's probably already done quite well. It's already mentioned that I've been working now for 5 years at VIKTOR. Actually started as an app developer, building applications for clients, and as time progressed, being more of a consultant, helping them out more, up to the point now where if I just put my description of what I do at VIKTOR, because sometimes I'm also not sure what is the title that of all the things that I'm doing. ChatGPT gave me the answer that I'm a digital engineering enthusiast. So now you know. Why this picture that I put up here? Well, this is sort of where I got introduced to all the challenges that I'll be talking about today. This was during my studies, where I had to do a lot of simulations on solar towers. That's what you actually see here, and how I had to solve that. And just if you are wondering where am I standing, or if I'm standing somewhere, that is where I am. So it's a quite big thing. But a very exciting technology. I'm not going to talk about solar towers today. I'm rather going to talk about the challenges and solutions, as I already mentioned. So let's get into the challenges that the engineer and the industry faces. And I think we already know that there's maybe you can already see that there's a poll set up. I'm not sure whether that is currently being shown. So there are a lot of challenges that the engineers face, and I just made a small list of them. Some of them are things that I've experienced. Oh, okay. Well, sorry for the technical difficulties. Well, that also happens a lot of the time. Welcome to the digital realm, where sometimes these difficulties happen. Okay, well then let's quickly just go through the visuals that you didn't see. So this is the solar tower I was talking about, and that is me that you should have seen. So getting back to the challenges, I already mentioned there's a poll that was actually set up just before I got live, and you will get the opportunity to just select those challenges that you face yourself as an engineer. I will be going through some of those challenges and also highlighting those that I experienced myself, and in that case also presenting my experiences. So here are the challenges that an engineer, the engineers that I've spoken to a lot during the years, and myself, I've experienced a lot. For me, probably the most annoying one when I started this journey of being an engineer and helping out and doing designs and so is repetitive work. Already showing that solar tower that you quickly just saw, that provided a lot of calculations and a lot of repetition. And when I did the optimizations, a lot of repetitive work had to be done. And that's when I started digging into finding solutions for that, finding the right digital tools for that. So that's where I was confronted with engineering reality, one can say. I've spoken to many engineers who say that they can't find the right data for a project. So that happens a lot of times. A lot of times also requirements change. That sometimes a design is done with a lot of beautiful optimizations, and the perfect design comes out, and in the end they need to change the design because of requirements that changed. And in that event, they build their own tools so that whenever these inputs change, that they can quickly calculate them. But then they get confronted with the next part of the challenge is to share those digital tools. I think Stijn also presented that in the introduction already with his Excel tool that he couldn't share with one another. So that resonated with me, as well as with, I think, with a lot of other engineers. But on the other hand, you also have the industry. The industry has also a lot of challenges, budget constraints. How many engineers say that, sorry, I can't develop these tools because I need to be billable, or those constraints that are put on engineers.
Marcel, just 1 second. Sorry, Marcel, sorry to break in. But we have,
yes.
Referring to the last slide you have, we actually have also the results in. So I thought that might be nice to show immediately. So what you're actually, I don't know if you are seeing them as well, but so this is the result. And apparently, well, it's quite well divided over all the different things. But the most voted one is the repetitive work. Is that in line with what you experience in your work?
That is definitely, as I already mentioned in the previous slide, is that this is sort of where I was confronted with reality, repetitive work, where you need to do all these analysis over and over again. And so it makes, or at least for me, it makes sense. But it's also nice to see from the industry that a lot of engineers also experience these same challenges.
And the second most voted is project requirements that change, which at the end mean updating all things again and more repetitive work. So it's kind of a snowball effect.
Yeah. And I guess what then the engineers opt for is a very conservative design, which is not always the most optimal one. That's a problem that the engineers face, and I really feel for the engineers. But having also been in conversation with other people in the engineering industry, those challenges also are much greater than the individual, and that's why these other challenges that you also see here in front of you is something that I should just quickly check if these other challenges of the industry are they being shared on the screen. If
now you're back. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So with budget constraints and the compliance, where things just get stricter, or it feels like things are just get stricter every single year. How to navigate through all those rules. Environmental considerations. In the far past, it was mainly focused on cost. Now, topics such as sustainable development and CO2 analyses. Those are all other considerations that you need to take into consideration. And it's sometimes the case that it's not the cheapest option, that's also the most environmental friendly. So that optimization also puts the engineer into, or the industry in a tight space. And then workforce considerations. Many times you hear them saying we need to do more with less, or where managers say I'm trying to keep my workforce happy. So those are all challenges that the industry also faces. Now, getting back to the challenge of the engineer, the individual, I already mentioned that for when I was confronted with reality, I had to pick a digital solution to help me automate the process. And it's quite easy to just open up an Excel spreadsheet and then start automating. But in reality is that you do get to a plateau at a certain point. So it's easy to do quick tasks, but once you want to build something for complex engineering calculations, you sort of get to a plateau. And you also get that for other tools that you are using. Now, Python, this is my own experience, this line that you're seeing. It took me a bit longer to get into this, but it got me much further. Taking an example of an assignment that I received where I had to automate reporting with Excel as a user interface. Now, being naive and optimistic, I thought this challenge would be great for me. But I noticed after a while that it's not practical to do that. So I ended up using Python to automate these reports. Got me much quicker to my result. But then I wanted to share that with the people that would be using it, and they were like, we don't know how to use the script, and please do not tell us to follow these instructions. That's this is not a user-friendly manner. And I think that is the challenge that many engineers face, is that there are better solutions, but they are not they're not solving all problems. And I think that is where we want to go as an industry. We want to get better at what we do, and we want to get those tools to help us. So I think that's where we want to get as VIKTOR. We want to facilitate the engineer. And how can we do that? Well, it starts with this vision of can we get the engineer to reach its full potential, and that's why I myself really love this vision of unlocking the world's engineering potential. And all of the colleagues that I'm working with, we are all very much passionate about this vision. But how do we get there? Well, at VIKTOR, we are continuously developing on a platform to help engineers unlock that potential. So we're a platform where you can build applications. We also want to empower organizations to go through that digital transformation. I mean, so many organizations still don't do everything digitalized. So, and also maybe you do it in an old-fashioned way. So how can we empower them? And furthermore, and I think this is one where UCODE is probably a good example. How can we get people together to innovate more and collaborate more? And UCODE is a great example of that. But also, we would like to provide a platform where people can collaborate more. So what is VIKTOR really? Because this is the vision statement. Well, in one sentence, it's a low-code platform that allows engineers to build and share user-friendly web apps with nothing but Python. And if you go to it in more detail, it's 3 pillars. It has already been presented by Stijn, but I would like to reiterate this. One is the SDK, the software development kit that allows that engineer that has a Python script. How can that engineer convert that Python script quickly into a web application that they can share with one another? And that's why we've developed the software development kit. Maybe if we have time, I would really love to show a bit of the software development kit by coding, but we'll see. If we look at what is needed for a normal engineer to build a web application. That's usually what is required on the left-hand side. While with Victor, you only need Python. So that's what we would like to facilitate the engineer with. Not all engineers are interested in all those other technologies. Furthermore, we are very well aware that engineers don't start from scratch every time they do a project. They have software that helps them in this process. And whether it's for finite element modeling or other designs, you use software to your advantage. Being aware of that, we've built integrations that allow engineers to integrate with web-based applications, making it still shareable with one another. And then lastly, we provide a platform where engineers can deploy their applications to share with one another. And for the engineers that aren't developing applications, that they can discover what tools their colleagues have made. It's also an easy environment for managers to manage and arrange their projects and get the right tools for that project. And many other features and functionalities that we currently have and striving to get in the future. So to summarize and reiterate, we have the software development kit, integrations, and a platform that helps all engineers to either build applications or find tools that they can use. And it's also nice to see that for this vision that we follow to empower the engineer to unlock this potential, that there are many other organizations that also see that vision and following us. And this is just a few organizations that follow this vision, and we are confident by seeing them following this vision. But it's not only of them seeing this vision, it's also that there's real value being created. For example, if we take some customer cases, the longest immersed tunnel, I want to reiterate this because this I find really impressive. The longest immersed tunnel in the world, which is currently being constructed between Germany and Denmark, that was designed and automated using the Victor platform. One of the biggest, or maybe even the biggest construction organizations in the world, Vinci, they are using Victor to automate crane foundation designs, saving them lots of time. McDermott, they've created these AI models and deploying it now on the Victor platform to help their engineers to spot any errors on piping and instrumentation diagrams, and also many other cases. And this is a joke that I sometimes like to make, is that Victor is the reason that the Netherlands isn't underwater yet. So there are some projects that we have where we do the checks on embankments in the Netherlands, which keeps the water out of this country. For those who do not know, the Netherlands for large parts are under sea level. So I find this also really, really fun to see that we are actually working on these projects as well. But it's not only the customers that we are looking at. We're also looking at the broader community. I'm talking about professors like Wasim Jabi. I'm talking about students, and I'm talking about freelancers, all trying out the platform and building applications, publishing those applications freely as public apps. You can find many of these tools on our app gallery on our website. So feel free to check them out. And these are just some examples of what has been built by the community. Some very interesting ones to see how they've developed all these tools on the platform. It inspires me as an individual, and I hope it inspires you too. And yeah, that's why I would say that if there are any engineers that feel that their fingers are itching and they want to start building a web application, we have the free version available that you can request and start building right away. And yeah, I think that's what I wanted to present. And Stijn, I was actually wondering, do we actually have time to build something today?
Just bring it back. Great. Marcel, thanks a lot. Well, it's good that you asked, because we got a few questions in the chat as well, and people are I think really would like to see how this actually works. So could you show us a bit, Marcel?
Yes. Well, then I just need to get my screen ready for this. All right, let's just not make the same mistake. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Nice. Do you see a demo environment?
No, we see the presentation, Marcel.
Aha. All right, so let's just make sure that we share the right screen. And there we go, share.
Yes, now we see it.
All right. I think I'll, because I'm also sharing my code and I don't think you're seeing that. So let's just make sure that I'm sharing everything perfectly well. There we go. We've got the workspace environment and we've got some code. So for those that are wondering how the platform looks like, this is a live demo of the VIKTOR platform, where you have your development environment and some workspaces there. Now for today, we're going to dive into the development workspace, starting actually from scratch. So see how that looks like if you start with absolutely nothing. And just making it a bit smaller. Let's start by adding some input parameters. Maybe the easy one is a number field. And Stijn, if you have any suggestions, please mention, or if someone requests from the community, please let me know so that we can build something neat. So as you can see here, we've got a number field. And maybe some other fields that could be worthwhile, maybe a text field, my text, or options.
Hello world.
You want hello world? I will try to make a hello world. Let's say we've got options. Let's say 1, 2, 3, and just import this. And let's see if we just change these values. If that's, there we go. We've got some text and some options. Now someone said hello world, so let's put that as an intro, and let's say text hello world. And this is then done with, for those wondering what, you can do that also with markdown format, and that makes it a heading. And let's see what happens there.
I'm a bit older than you, so can you please zoom in a bit?
Oh, okay. Is this fine?
Perfect.
Fantastic. All right. But yeah, these are only input parameters. Maybe we should also consider looking at creating some visualizations. What do you think about that? Let's go to create apps. For those wondering, we are now in the documentation section. And if we want to create apps, you can find under the, if you go to the results and visualizations, you find many different examples. Stijn, actually, what I was wondering is that we need to get Timo here and get some of his scripts and just throw that into this application. Yeah. Maybe that's something that we should consider the next time, like a live demo hackathon podcast type of thing. I think that would be quite cool. Anyway, I'm digressing. Let's get a map. Maybe I really like maps. So if we just put a map on there. So remove the redundant code. For those wondering what I've done, the input parameters are defined in the parameterization object of VIKTOR. So you can then define your input parameters, which will then appear on the left-hand side of an application. And you can then define all your results and calculations on the in the controller. So for example, here I copied the snippet that was available in the documentation to produce a map. And if we refresh our page, and hopefully what will happen, the normal format would be is that it's the input on the left-hand side and the visualization on the right-hand side. But depending also on how the browser is set up, then it can also appear at the bottom. So if I would then give a big screen, then you will see Bermuda's triangle. I find it a really fun example. So just putting Bermuda's triangle on the map. Yeah, so this is just some few input parameters. Stijn, what do you think? Should we make this more dynamic?
Yeah, just one thing, Marcel, because we have a few minutes left and we have a few minutes for questions. So the challenge is how fast can you change one of the fixed points now towards an input field?
Is that a challenge?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So geo point.
And I want to see a 3D model.
Select a point. And now we just need to check. So all these things are map points. So let's say that I want to select a fourth point. So if params is basically that how you can retrieve your parameterization. So that's something that you give as an argument. And then you can add that or use that as your input parameters or your variables. So then I would then append this by saying that params.geoPoint. Can't add it. I think you should add it like this. By the way, you can find all the documentation of this, or all the ways of applying this in the documentation. So I think hopefully this will work. First, let's see whether this is, by the way, a number. So let's just make a number out of this. Hopefully that's there we go. Oh, an error occurred. GeoPoint. I think.
Marcel, we have
Yes.
1 minute left, and there are a few questions from the public.
Okay. You can ask those questions while I click on the screen.
So short answers,
Nice.
maybe.
There it is.
Nice. So the first question is, are there open source apps, and where can they find them?
Yeah, that is a good question. So I think if you go to the website, you have this is only one source where you can actually find all the tools. So if you go to Apps Gallery, so that's I think if you just make it, there we go, the Apps Gallery there at the top. And here we've got a whole range of applications built by the public, and you can filter them by disciplines, structural. If you want to see integrations, you can select those. So it's really fun. I would highly recommend checking this out. Some of them even have their source code. So, for example, I know that the geotechnical engineers like
Marcel,
sharing.
this is also a question we got through the chat. Is the code open source for all applications?
Yeah, that is a good question. Well, we provide the freedom for the engineer, for organizations as well as the individual. So they can, we don't enforce that in any way. So if they want to make the source open source, then that is really nice. We encourage that even, but they aren't required. So, yes.
All right. Well, Marcel, time is up. So thanks a lot. And thanks for this presentation and the live demo. I think we didn't prepare what I would ask you. So cool. So thanks a lot. And we have to go to the next presentation. So for everybody, of course, as Marcel shared, on our website, you can find a lot of examples, and you can definitely reach out when you want to know more about our platform. Thanks, Marcel.
Yeah, thanks, Stijn.